Now back to Talk Shop Asia Global USA Edition. Only here on V81 Radio Worldwide.
Welcome back to Talk Shop Asia Global USA Edition, Season 2, and our focus on looking towards 2021. And our episode today, as we said, is about people, because as economy opening up with health protocols in place, the future of 2021 is with your people, because there is no other way to build businesses but through its people. And as we said, that it's very timely that the World Stage International Network has an ongoing conference or a movement called Awesome People Conference that is running from November 25 to January 20, led by their managing director, Cherry Pua Africa. We discussed with Cherry earlier about the awesome team and the culture and the awesome life that we should lead to navigate successfully in the businesses in the New World Order for welcoming 2021. Now, let's bring back Cherry and let's talk about Awesome Communicator, which is the third episode of the conference slated for January 16. Let's get back, Cherry. Hi, Cherry.
Where are you again?
Now, we will talk about this time, it's about the awesome communicator, right? And communication is important. And there's such a thing as a distortion of communication. You can distort communication in the way you want. I'm sorry, the presidential election just finished in America. And as you campaign, I'm not saying they distort your communication, but what you communicate in your campaign is very deliberate and there's a messaging there. So what about this awesome communicator? Why is communication important? And is communication really an important skill moving forward?
Yes, definitely, Rosario. There are so many important skills right now. So, but I truly believe communication is one important skill. It's packaging whatever the raw materials you have there and putting it in a situation that can move people in the right direction. And it's so important that you get that right. Without hurting people, without making people hate situations. So that's a lot. There's a lot of art there. And when you are an awesome communicator, you become an inspiring leader. You become an inspiring person. And that's when you affect change and you create an impact. Otherwise, you are really just throwing out words and nobody's listening. And in worst case, you're actually hurting or making it even worse. So it's important that we learn the skills to become master communicators. We cannot be amateur communicators.
I like that because earlier you said about the art of listening. You have to have the art of listening in as much as the art of communicating. Because if you don't listen, it's hard to communicate also effectively for the people to listen to you too. Because if you don't listen, they won't listen too. So the art of communication is really very important to increase more results the way you want. Is communication something that can be manipulated? There are some manipulator in terms of communicate. It's like when they talk of conspiracy, repeatedly talking of conspiracy theories. What do you say about that? So communication can be good and can be bad.
Yes, all communication is manipulation. All communication, when we are communicating, we're trying to actually limit the frame by which people will actually try and make judgments and conclusions, right? So in effect, it is manipulation. However, the difference between manipulation and real influence is really the intention. One has, if I want to influence you, my intention is actually generative, collective good. We are actually going towards the same purpose. And no matter how it looks, too conflicting on the outside, at the end of the day, we try and build win-win, results. That's collaboration. That takes up a lot of energy. And that's the reason why people get tired and patient with negotiations or collaborations. And when we need to be responsible for the consequences of our communication, So whatever, so when we are, for example, when we're talking to our children, we are manipulating them in a sense, making them think according to the standards or the measures that they will be measured accordingly. And it's so important that, we are also responsible for the consequences of that communication. If we actually take that into with tedious care, win-win results, and being responsible for the consequences of our communication, we become professional communicators, and I think it's a skill that we will need to build in order for us to actually become impactful as individuals.
So really, it's to be accountable of what you communicate and the
Yes,
consequences it may bring or the benefits it may bring. So
yes,
you're basically saying is that the act of communication is very important and the skill to have it. But the
mm,
intent is the most important thing about
yes,
communication. The
mhm,
intent and the content of what you're
yes,
saying. Because
correct,
yeah, the powerful content is very key because words that you say can manifest action or can result action, as you
yes.
say, you know?
Words are so powerful.
Yeah.
You open the right file, you open the right actions, right? Sometimes you do not need to invest on so many things in order to just move people to do something. It just requires a word. It just requires a certain tonality in words. It just requires a certain look, leaning in, paying attention to them, making them feel important and visible. That's enough. That's enough in order to make people move and agree, or do some things even though they don't agree to it. And so it is, I think it is a skill, it's an art, but it should come from a place of authenticity, and right, and that there is actually good intention at the very very core, even when the content is going to be hard and challenging.
You hit it right. Authenticity is very important because otherwise it may sound you are scripted. You're just telling that because you think that's what we want to hear. But being authentic, it just reminded me when sometimes you go retrenchment on how you communicate the bad news is very important because you can cushion the impact by the way you deliver the message in an authentic and being showing concern for the
Mhm.
implications of what's going to happen.
Mhm.
It's like you can deliver a bad news in a way that the impact to the person is not as hard as it could have been, right?
Mhm.
And you can deliver the good news that you can make it dry or you can make it really exciting.
Mhm.
It's really how you deliver it, really, and it always comes from leadership, right? And from
Yes.
the team, and from all. I go back to your episode of team life communication. The team is how you communicate the culture and how you can make it alive. So the content of what you're saying has to be consistent. So if you're very inconsistent, you confuse the team, right?
Yes.
And you
Mhm.
confuse their lives. So the consistency, sincerity, authenticity, and the content is very powerful. Amazing.
Mhm.
So that's why. So what does communication have to do with being awesome? I guess I know the answer, but I want to hear from you. Communication being awesome?
Yeah, I guess, it's like, again, I go back to the state of awe. It's like namamangha yung tao na parang, I don't like what I will do, but there is something that you did that just irrationally made me, naked to your persuasion. And as a result of that, I'm going to follow you till the ends of the earth because you are somebody who's credible to me. You're somebody who I trust. And that is all, communicated through words, through your body language, through tonality. And so it is so important, when you talk about communication, you pay attention to three things. These are three M's: the message, the messenger, and the medium. When we're able to combine these so well and so resourcefully, appropriate, then we're able to actually, get to the right direction. It is so, it's so awesome, Rosario, right? Our power, you're saying, good news can be dry and bad news can be exciting. It depends on how you actually carry the message through, and that tells us that we have so much power, and we look at this power with excitement, not as a burden. And if we look at this with enthusiasm, then we are going to actually get there and try and improve ourselves, and that's called progress.
It excites me a lot. I'm a commerce graduate, but I never really used it until I became an anchor and use the communication. And we know this is a platform, very important. But I see one of your guests is Tony Gonzaga, as one of your guests here. She's a TV personality. But let's hear. I know she's got a teaser inviting everybody. So Miguel, can we show Tony Gonzaga?
Hi, awesome people. This is Tony Gonzaga, and I'm inviting all of you to bring your awesome selves. Let's all be present. Let's encourage, uplift, and build up one another on November 25 up to January 20, which is my birthday. But I will be on the January 16th conference on how to be a communicator and how to express ourselves, express what we feel inside so that we can be more open, be more vulnerable, and be more, open to many opportunities that are waiting for us in life. I can't wait to see you all, and let's stay awesome, let's stay blessed, and see you there.
That's very exciting. You have Tony Gonzaga, and I like her teaser and things like that. What will she talk about? Obviously, I think she's going to inspire a lot of people. But in a gist, can you tell us what scope of talk on the communication she's going to tackle?
We're gonna have a little bit of a fireside chat with Tony, and she's really just going to share her story, how she began. We look at Tony as somebody who's like very influential and inspiring, right? And she has a lot of great, beautiful message and content. And we look at her, we feel a sense of awe. Wow, diba? And I think it's important that, for us to understand that she began somewhere humble, somewhere, amateur, and then she progressed into something, utilizing the resources, gathering whatever is there available for us. So we're gonna just get a little bit of an insight, a little bit of a peek, a preview of how she was able to do it and how she was able to progress there. So, I'm very excited about the things that she will share.
That's amazing. Who other guests you have there? I know you're also speaking there, right?
Yes, and well, I wanted to share with you, Rosario. I'm going to, we have with us, it's a privilege to have with us, one of the FW and most influential women, in the world, and that's you. And so thank you so much for saying yes. I am very inspired by your own story, Rosario. I mean, how you've also began humble beginnings, and then you've been there, leading a group of thousands of people, and generating huge positive outcomes for your company. And then now you're here sharing your story, being an anchor. So we also are looking forward, leaning in, trying to, learn more from your story, Rosario.
Thank you. I look forward to, and I'm very honored that you've asked me also to speak with Tony Gonzaga. Obviously, she's the main feature, but to be in the category of Tony Gonzaga elates me, and thank you for that privilege.
Would you like to share, Rosario, what you're going to talk about as a little bit of a teaser?
Yes, I'm going to talk about really my life journey as a communicator, but not as a radio anchor necessarily, but how I have used communication as a very powerful tool in crafting my journey. I started my career as a telephone operator. So you could say SGS hello is a communication way that gives the voice waves into that one. But as a telephone operator, I have progressed my career to become a CEO. And along that way is how you present yourself and how you communicate in a male-dominated corporate world, and then achieve a position that I've never dreamt of. But simply because your body language and your communication to the people has been very clear to them that you can deliver and that you have something to offer. But at the end of the day, when you communicate, you must be able to deliver what you commit, because your words is powerful. If you say you can do it, make sure you commit to do it. And if you're going to make not a good success of it, be able to communicate it too and be authentic about it. I think those are the journey that I would like to express to the viewers there and the listeners for the January 16 on the Effective Communicator. And on the other side, my hat as a mother, I feel how to communicate with my son, who is an LGBTQ, how he has told me when he revealed himself that he is, and how I have communicated back in order to make sure the relationship is not damaged. And but I am there to help him consistently communicate that I'm there to help him out as we go along. And now being an anchor is how do I communicate to the world on how to be successful in this new world normal. So I hope your viewers and your guests and participants will get something out of my humble life journey from a telephone operator to the corporate world, and from the corporate world I backed out for family focus, and how I have reinvented myself in the pandemic way using communication as a number one skill.
I want to say that, Rosario, I watch you. I watch you talk. I watch you move. And I've watched you when you were in Canada. And I've really just been in awe. So I am very thankful for this friendship. But I think if there's one thing that I wanted to say, which I perceive you to be, you're a rainmaker. You know, rainmaker is, the height of influence where you're in your capacity just by being yourself, your credible self. You're able to actually form connections and connect people together. And I think, you mentioned, and that was your very first question to me when we began this whole interview is, what does influence mean over fluency? Influence is when you are a rainmaker, when through your connections, and I don't mean connection, we talk about politics, connection, but I really truly think it's the relationships that you form, and you're able to actually bring desired results, whether it's profit, it's money, it's relationships, it's better states or feelings to people. When we are able to move people, we become inspiring, we become influential. And this is basically the core of the message of this entire day. It's your communication can drive change.
That's true. Well, thank you very much for those kind words. I really truly believe that if you communicate with integrity and you communicate with authenticity, you become a magnet. And as a magnet, you become a magnet of people that wants to be associated with you. And that magnet becomes a replication of good deeds. Because if they see you have good deeds, you will attract good deeds. If they see that you are evil, magnet will repel. They don't want to be associated in that. And you said it. The network is not just connection, but it is a magnetism of doing good deeds collectively, because you have delivered your communication very clear of what you stand for and who you are.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, if I may add, I think what's exciting about this awesome communicator session is this among the entire 3 days, more really content heavy in terms of skills that they will learn. And what we're doing here is I'm very, very proud to actually feature two of my, greatest show people in our team who will teach us two things. And that is actually, the message and the medium. So we're going to talk about how to develop content, and it's wonderful for trainers, for HR practitioners, or for those who are doing train the trainer, those who wanted to speak. How do you create that story? How do you create that narrative and put it in a form of how do you put together the data and make a great story out of it? And the other one is really trying to understand medium, and that is, how do you play around with all the technology, all the innovations that's needed in order for us to, to leverage on what's available, not to get frustrated, not to get techno stressed at all. So these are going to be actually led by two people, two energy needs in my team, Angeline Lee and Eliza Fantabella. And so we're very excited also to feature them as speakers of this conference.
That's amazing. They will complement what the message is about. And I always believe the message matters. It's just like if they talk about Black Lives Matters, the message matters. What comes out of your mouth matters, the content and how you deliver it. And great with your team teaching us on the best medium to reach it exponentially and really make waves of good deeds and change. So superb. Yeah, so to recap, you have an awesome team last November 25, and you have an awesome live on December 5, and on January 16 is the awesome communicator. And now, the most awaited episode is about leadership, which is the awesome leader, hand in hand with its team as they navigate life towards a successful 2021. But before, I just like to play once again one of your teasers so that they could see these are 4 segments. So before we talk about the leadership, Miguel, let's play once again just the video teaser of the awesome conference.